Good afternoon. Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. I do believe this is the first recording that I will have made in the calendar year, the Gregorian calendar year 2024. I cannot believe it's already into the third week, yet I can believe. I do feel as if this thing we call time is going to continue to accelerate exponentially in 2024. So it doesn't surprise me. With that said, I am in what I call processing mode. I had an event, actually already my third event of the year took place, and this was a big one in which I had a very big role, a bigger event, a longer event. I was gone for 4 days, and this is the second full day since being done with it. But for the first time, my role included or includes managing a lot of the post race things that need to be done. And in this case, that is a little bit longer of a list than normal because we ran out of medals. We knew we were going to run out of medals, and therefore it's causing a whole lot of extra kind of paperwork afterwards. With that said, today's the first and only day before I shift gears to another event tomorrow where I'm fully in my world. And it has been off the charts. So I'm just going to try to weave together a number of the energetic streams taking place. And it is in no small way due to this processing that I do after each event. It's basically a reliving of the weekend because there's so much jam-packed in events that you're not really able to fully be present in the moment and just take it all in. So for me, afterwards, I sort of relive the event and really integrate it. And I have a lot of room very purposely in my life for the integration and then the allowance for growth and transformation. Lessons learned, things that went well, things that didn't, aspects, getting triggered. Invariably, I'll get triggered at an event weekend, most especially this weekend because of the medal situation. There's nothing more uncomfortable than watching grown adults break down like children, which I had to do. And honestly, I really didn't want to hold space for it because it's so ridiculous. And it's very challenging, certain aspects of this event industry that I am in. And so I get triggered. I fall into judgment, and that's an entire process to work through all the different layers of experience and energetic exchanges. So I've had a fantastic day. I've been up and going since before 7. I meditated, I worked out, I walked. It's been a fantastic day. My meditation today, I drew from all 5 decks. I have 5 different decks at my altar, and a lot of times I'll draw, sometimes over the course of 2 or 3 days. Sometimes, like today, I draw from all 5 decks in one day, and then I let those energies of those cards that come up, sometimes they're up there for weeks. Ideally, I let them stay up for about a week's time. Whatever energy I'm drawn to at that first, whatever meditation I switch up the cards, I usually let that linger because, again, there's 5 different decks and each one is uniquely different. And so I love to have those as sort of energetic reads, and they sort of set the tone for the week ahead after whenever I draw them. I have a 6th deck out here that is actually the first tarot deck I ever got. Now, this is when I'm going to tie in my book. This is my first book. I am definitely going to be working into a lot of my videos promoting of this book. I have to do this in order to start to get my work out to the people and the energies that are calling for it. And trust me, especially this book, the energy that comes through us, especially if you're following inspiration, if you're being pulled to do something, my personal belief is that there is a matching energy somewhere on this planet calling for that. And one of the beautiful parts of life is finding the ways and increasing the ways we can increase the chances of our energies crossing in that perfect way. When you're called to deliver something that somebody else is calling for in one way or another. This book is that on a really, really, really high level. And so, yes, I am going to promote it because, yes, it came through me. Yes, it's very uniquely my book and very unique content, but it is definitely the root of what came through me is from much, much further beyond me. And therefore, I feel humbly that this book is imbued, literally imbued with a very potent cosmic divine energy. Now, with that said, this is, so you can see there's 7 soul igniting suggestions. So there's 7 different exercises, if you will, journaling exercises. Each one of them is laid out in a very particular order for a very particular reason. The 5th one is A to Z influential people during your lifetime. So then at the beginning of each one, I've got some written things, and then I have room to write directly in the book, although it's encouraged to get a separate journal, hence why it's called a journaling companion. But in this one, it's thinking of, without overthinking it, the names from A to Z of people that have been highly influential in your life. Good, bad, indifferent, just people that have affected you strongly, that you remember. And again, it doesn't matter if it was in a good way or if it was in a bad way, just a strong, energetic connection. And to go through the alphabet and think of names without overthinking it, like whatever first comes to you, and to list those names. So for me, and then I describe and talk about this a little bit and how important for me I believe names are, because I believe, in addition to numbers, that my soul has used names to serve as guideposts in my life, as winks from the universe, as little clues of, I would say, soul family. I would say major lessons and themes to be explored. The names and the people through whom these things have come through have just happened in my world to, in some cases, share names. For example, I have an uncanny amount of Chris's, Christines, Christinas in my life that have been big energetic influences. Big. So many Chris's, they go beyond one hand. And Chris's that like profoundly affected me. Well, one of the Chris's, I call him Hippie Chris. Hippie Chris was a Grateful Dead dude. He was on the road with the Grateful Dead forever, for like 2 decades. He did bead work to support himself. I've got a dream catcher in the back of my back bedroom from him from like 14 years ago that is gorgeous, that he made from scratch. He was he went to school for engineering. So he has a degree in engineering, but he never used it. He followed the dead for a couple decades. And then I met Chris and worked with Chris on the organic farm for years. One of my favorite people. And never, he had a cell phone, but he didn't even have it on. And so when he left the farm a few years ago, I lost touch with him. Chris is the one that gifted me this beautiful deck, this beautiful tarot deck. And I am not a tarot reader, and I'm going to say yet, because I find tarot to be, it's one of a handful of things, learning more about astrology, learning more about numerology, and learning more about tarot are all high on my list of desires, and crystals, to dive even further in the crystals than I already have. Those are all things that resonate very strongly with me. And I'm so eager for one day down the linear timeline to have more time to delve into these things. In the meantime, I certainly understand it, the gist of it, and I know a little bit more than the average layperson about tarot. And what I love most about it, and why I think I'd be good at it, is because it's about intuition, interpretation, and storytelling. Is how I see it succinctly. When you draw the tarot cards, yes, they all have sort of standard meanings, if you will, but the way you interpret those meanings, especially with an array of cards, and how you weave the story together, and then the most important piece is taking into account the energy for whom the reading is being done. I just like, I know I would be good at it. So I love, and this deck is beautiful. So I just went on an unexpected walk. We have had a horrible winter. I cannot remember a winter like this in Florida, with rain and gloom. Today was actually a normal winter day. Crisp blue skies, beautiful. So I just got done with a brief walk this evening, and I came back and I decided to draw from this deck. And it just blows my mind. It blows my mind how it's all interrelated. I cannot believe how perfect this is to complement the other cards that I drew from my other 5 decks this morning when I did my morning meditation. And it's such a powerful, beautiful card. And I was gonna read it all the way through, but I think this doesn't tell me how long I've been going. I've already been going too long. So I think I'm just gonna show the card. Okay. Oh, they're beautiful. It's such a beautiful deck. So this is one of the major arcana cards, and it's number 8. Okay. And it's called Strength. So you've got your major arcana, your minor arcana, and then you've got the wands, the cups, the swords, and I'm missing one. Wands, cups, swords, and pentacles are like the suits. You know, if you were to liken it to a deck of cards, it's like the hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs. And this is one of, I think, the major arcana cards, and it's Strength. And it's this beautiful, depicted sort of this beautiful female next to a wolf. Oh, fuck it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it because I'm going to just read it. Okay. And tell you it's off the charts how perfect the drawings always are. Okay, so so I'm reading from the book, so you can see Strength, right? And then it gives a description here and here, and then it gives what's called the divinatory meaning. Okay, so I'm just going to read. Silence envelops them. She crouches very close, but not too close. The wolf holds himself still, just a heartbeat away from trust. She may have been waiting there for days or moments. It doesn't matter to her. There is no impatience, no anxiety in her. With concentration born of love, she stills her own breathing, quiets her heart. She becomes only acceptance, and she waits for as long as it takes, content to feel the wolf's warmth near her. The moment cannot be hurried. There is no forcing the matter. She wants to know him, both his nobility and his wildness. More than that, though, she wishes to feel what he feels. She wants to understand him. She is going to witness the moment when he moves from wariness to trust. If she can just see that, then she can embrace the beast inside her. A breeze wafts over them. The moon moves across the sky. Finally, his breathing quiets, almost matching hers. His heartbeat slows, and hers seeks to join it. They inhale so close. Exhale. The next breath they take as one. Neither moves, but both are changed. Divinatory meaning. In a card named Strength, one might expect amazing feats of physical prowess or of defeating foes. In the hidden realm, there is another kind of strength and a specific kind of challenge. We all have our wild parts, aspects of ourselves that have grown careless or reckless or fearful through life experiences that left us wounded, or parts of ourselves that society or individuals have told us are shameful. We deem these parts unlovable and hide them away, but they don't stay hidden, lashing out instead in surprising ways that we cannot seem to control. Those parts of us have value. This card represents the most difficult kind of strength, the strength to face and love ourselves, to accept and heal, and eventually to integrate so that we can be whole again. This journey is ongoing, for just as we heal one wound, another often appears. In a reading, this card lets you know that whatever your question, inner healing and forgiveness are part of the answer. I believe this card is speaking to the world at large. This is going to be an intense year, a very intense year. Before November, I predict some big things are already happening, and I am not one that feeds the external. I'm not. And I will begin to be speaking about this from a different perspective and from a different frequency. But for today, I leave you with that unbelievable reading and ask you to ponder it as it pertains to your own life, knowing that the only reason that this speaks to the collective is because it speaks to so many of us individually. And together, individually, we make up the collective. We have massive healing to do on this planet. Massive. The solutions, the answers, they do not lie externally. They're right here. And that's both good news and, for some, terrifying news. It's time to really step into who I am and why I believe I chose to be here on planet Earth at this time. Fearlessly, I need to step into my strength, which, of course, as this card indicates, includes embracing my wild, embracing the beast side, embracing the wounds, embracing all those things that up until this point have been labeled wrong or something I should be ashamed of. Not necessarily publicly, but just being fearless enough to not try to hide anymore, to remove all masks, and to be as fully authentic and genuine as I'm intended to be, as we're all intended to be. So that's it for today's reading. More to come.